I was bothered. We set up a lot of free events at the Jolt Park. We have concerts every single day, but I kept thinking to myself, something was missing. So we had these events from 4 to 7. At 7 o'clock, everybody crosses the street to watch the hockey games, right?
Right.
Except the people who can't afford to go in. And I thought, God, that's the optics of the haves and the have-nots.
Ouch. Yeah, it's so
It
true,
is.
though. It's true. It's true.
And I thought, and it bothered me. I couldn't put my finger on it. And finally it did.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Total Michigan, where we interview ordinary Michiganders doing some pretty extraordinary things. I'm your host, Cliff Duvenois. So this is actually going to be part 2 of my story around capturing the Memorial Cup and the impact that it's having on Saginaw and all of the surrounding counties. So if you would, you probably could go back and listen to my interview with Craig Goslin, episode 157, where he talked about what it actually took to bring the Memorial Cup to Saginaw. And one of the things that he hinted at during that interview was the legacy projects that are going to permanently change Saginaw. And I really wanted to follow up with that a little bit more. And everybody said, if you want to do that, the man you need to talk to is Jimmy Greene.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Although I prefer extraordinary people doing extraordinary things as opposed to ordinary people. Just kidding.
No, that's perfect. So, Jimmy, you're the sales director for the Memorial Cup.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So just really quick for our audience, because we've already talked about what the Memorial Cup is, what I would like for you to do, if you would, is just kind of like at a high level, talk about like some of the events that are going to be happening during the Memorial Cup.
Well, first of all, we put a chip on our shoulder right away once we won the Memorial Cup. The idea was we were going to deliver the best, grandest Memorial Cup that's ever been done. The reason we did that was because this is only the 4th time it's been here in the States. So we wanted to make sure that there was a 5th time. So we we raised the level, no question about it. We put a lot of expectations on ourselves. So we started with the basics, day 1 through day 12. What are we going to do on these days to impress not just the Canadians, but the Great Lakes Bay region folks, our hockey fans, just basically anywhere. And the idea was to create these sort of events that would encompass the entire community and not just hockey fans.
Nice. And before we jump into that a little bit more, just for our audience here, why don't you tell us a little bit about where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Oh, I was born and raised in Flint, Michigan. I'm a project boy. I say that proudly. Only because when I think about how I wound up here, there's humility in every step, grace, quite frankly, in everything I've done. I'm a firm believer that we are where we're supposed to be.
Yes.
I've always been guided by that. And born and raised in Flint, got out of Flint, went to Eastern Michigan University, wound up in Saginaw looking for a job.
What did you study at Eastern?
Believe it or not, childcare development.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I had this idea that I was going to help children. I wanted to be the dad that my father wasn't. I grew up in a very alcoholic infested environment. My dad wasn't around. My mom was, but she suffered through alcoholism, and it impaired our childhood. So I thought I was going to be that dad, that parent that every child needed. So that's why I went to childcare development. Couldn't find a job, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I just started applying everywhere, and I got a job opportunity in Saginaw in banking.
In banking, okay. So then let me ask you this question here. It's a little bit of a stretch, banking to hockey. So let me ask you this question here.
I've done a lot of things before, in between that.
Oh, there you go. So why don't you just give us like a highlight of that?
So I went from banking to brokerage, from brokerage to information technology. Believe it or not.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
Yep. And then I started my own consulting company. And then from there, I found politics and policy. And at that point, Associated Builders and Contractors was looking for a president. They had 5 over 7 years. So I don't know how in the heck they decided I was the right fit, but I was. So 16 years ago, I joined Associated Builders and Contractors as their president, and I was responsible for all policy and politics and government affairs for a lot of builders here in the state of Michigan.
And I could imagine that, well, so let me take a step back here. So you got a job that primarily brought you to Saginaw. but you've chosen to stay in Saginaw.
Yeah. I had a mentor, Henry Marsh, who was the first black mayor in Saginaw. Henry Marsh said something to me that changed my life. Everybody I've ever mentored, I give this lesson to. Ironically, it had everything to do with banking. Henry Marsh said to me, a community is a depository. What you deposit is your time and effort. Because at some point, you're going to want to do business with this community. That's your withdrawal. And you always want to make sure that no matter what community you belong to, you're not overdrawing your account. I never forgot that. So I started joining board of directors, started a lot of volunteerism. It's ironic because that's really where you meet the cream of the crop. You meet business leaders and service. Ultimately, that service led me to my best friend, Dick Garber, who is the owner of the Saginaw Spirit, and the primary reason I'm with the Saginaw Spirit to this very day, leading the Memorial Cup. So when I say you are where you're supposed to be, that started in Child and Family Services, serving on a board where I first met Dick. There were just so many things that, to me, there's nothing coincidental or incidental or accidental about me being here doing this interview with you with the Saginaw Spirit. I don't believe in necessarily predestination, but I believe when we trust our steps along the way, we are where we are. That's why I think people find it funny when I say I don't have any regrets. The only reason I say that is because I think at some point regrets means I could get a do-over. And I don't think you get do-overs. I think you get do-betters. And if I could go back and change one single thing that would prevent me from having this interview with you, or just to have a do-over, I wouldn't do it. And so, I know it's a long way to get to the Saginaw Spirit, but I've been a season ticket holder for 13 years. My daughters grew up with the Saginaw Spirit. We call them hockey chicks. Ironically, they're 22, 21, and 19. They all work for the Saginaw Spirit. And so you could see where, following your path, are you supposed to be where you are? Absolutely. I don't think anybody could look at where I started in the projects or I started in banking and then look at this based on my life's journey and travel. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And leading the Memorial Cup is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
And that's awesome. And we're definitely going to unpack a lot more of that.
I know.
A lot more than that. So that's great advice about investing in your community, treating it like it. I absolutely love that. My next question to you is, how did you get involved with the Saginaw Spirit?
Well, Craig, like I said, I was a season ticket holder, and Craig and I are best friends. Dick is like a brother to me. So when they bid for the Memorial Cup, they were looking for somebody who had a regional touch or regional presence. I pride myself on that. I've served on 26 board of directors all over the region. People know me. I know them. They ask if I would be interested in being the face or the voice for the Memorial Cup. Initially, I said yes, only because I wasn't sure we'd win it. And I was starting my own company because I was leaving ABC and starting Jimmy Greene and Associates. And I thought, what the heck? I mean, my best friend, right? And the Saginaw Spirit. So I said yes. So you can imagine that when we won it, and I'm not kidding you, when we won it, I forgot that I had submitted my name. And so it was only after that when Dick and Craig said, hey, we need to get together with you and talk about your role. And I'm like, what role?
Oh, you were serious about that?
Right. I knew what the Memorial Cup was, but I didn't understand the depth and the responsibilities of putting it on. And that's how I ultimately wound up with the Saginaw Spirit. I was so caught up in doing something we had never done here before. So I literally suspended the operations in my own business and said, I'm in. And from there, Kayla Pionk, my partner, got hired to do the internal. She is a godsend, honestly. She gives me my wind because I'm an external guy, and there's so many moving pieces to the Memorial Cup, and that's Kayla. Let me make that abundantly clear. If there is credit to be delivered, it's Kayla, not me, not Dick, not Craig. She's the architect, and I always use the analogy. You have a big orchestra, and a lot of people play a lot of instruments. One conductor. That's Kayla. Mm-hmm. And that's the analogy I give all the time. She points, you play. And that's really what it boils down to. So for me, running my mouth, being the hype guy, that's what I do. That's what I do. So, I always say I got the easy job because I make all the promises. She's got the hard job because she's got to deliver on all the promises that Craig and I make. So, yeah.
I actually saw at a dinner event where Dick Garber was talking about the Memorial Cup coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not that you were somebody they called, him and Craig. You were the first person they called.
Yeah. 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 And there's a humility in that. And, but then again, it goes back to maybe that's their withdrawal, the fact that they've been supportive of me, my family, and when they made the ask, that was a withdrawal. But they've deposited so much into me and my success here. I mean, how could I say no?
Right.
And I think that really is what's critical here is that we all play a role at some point. And they didn't overextend their ask of me based on all the deliverables I've had with them over the years.
Now, when they did reach out and they asked you to be the point guy basically on the Memorial Cup,
right?
What was it that made you say, yes, I want to be a part of this?
We had never done it.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, and I'm being very serious, Cliff. We had never done it. That to me was incredible because one of the great things about it is I had already started my own company. I started a leadership group here called the Saginaw Valley African American Leadership Group. I started another nonprofit called the Henry Marsh Institute for Public Policy. These are things that had never been done here before.
Right.
I love templates like that because who can say you're wrong? Like there's no wrong or right way to do it. There's just the way. And ultimately, the Memorial Cup looked like that to me. It was like, well, nobody's here. Nobody can say, you don't do it this way, you don't do it that way. So we had a chance to create our own definition. We had a chance to do something nobody had ever done. That was so exciting to me. It was away from politics and public policy and all those kind of things, which have become so toxic. And it was a chance to do something that I really wanted to enhance, and that was my love for the Saginaw Spirit. And maybe it was my opportunity to kind of deposit back into the Spirit, which it raised my daughters. My daughters started at 7, 8, and 9 watching the Spirit, and they never missed games, season ticket holders. And for them to join us in this effort, I mean, it was a godsend. I mean, really, to do this with your family and your best friends, there wasn't even a remote possibility of a no. So when you say, how did you do it? It would have been more difficult to answer, why wouldn't I do it?
Right.
The why I did it was pretty easy. And then I get to work with people here in the Saginaw Spirit, people who, quite frankly, they are amazing what they do here. And I only got to see it as a fan. And then you come inside and you watch what these folks do on a game day, the precision, the planning, the strategies, the entertainment value that they have, the merchandise, all the things they do, the Lindsays and Parkers and Nicoles and Gunners and Erics. And these people are just amazing to work with. And it's been a blessing, it really has been.
Was there ever at a point in time when this got rolling that you actually kind of maybe felt a little bit intimidated by it?
Only, and I guess this is a personal thing, when I started, I was also a week away from radiation because I had discovered I had prostate cancer. And I, so here, I'm battling prostate cancer. I had 7 weeks every day, 7 weeks of radiation. It was taking a toll on me physically.
Yes.
I will tell you, though, that getting up every day, and let me make this clear to your listeners, I'm not recommending by any stretch of the imagination because radiation hits people differently, but I struggled, but I felt there was great therapy in me getting up, and I did. So every day I'd get up the same way. I'd go out, Memorial Cup. And it's a pleasant, emotional, and maybe even a physical distraction. So when you talk about the timing of it, I don't know what I would have done or how I would have battled cancer had I just not been doing this. But because I was so committed to it and dedicated to it, and there was no possibility of me failing at it, that just wasn't going to happen, all of a sudden you just feel a little bit better. And by the end of the day, because they wanted me to rest, I was so exhausted after radiation and Memorial Cup. I had no problem just falling on there were times I just not even undress. I just get on the couch and just crash
right.
And then start the next day. So when you talk about challenges, this was a challenge enough. And then battling cancer along the way was kind of added to that. But
how's everything going on that front?
Well, it's ironic because 2 weeks ago I got a clean bill of well, I'm in remission. Let me put it that way.
Beautiful.
Detectable cancer.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. I kept saying, I'll be damned if I do all this work and not see this Memorial Cup. I don't know what wheel I had, but I just had an incredible experience with the doctors here too. So
awesome.
Yeah.
For our audience, we're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about the mechanics behind the Memorial Cup and what you can expect when you come here. We'll see you after the break.
Hey, if you are enjoying these great interviews, just take a moment and go to totalmichigan.com/join, and you can get these episodes sent directly to your inbox because there's a lot more great stories coming. See you there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Total Michigan, where we interview ordinary Michiganders doing some pretty extraordinary things. I'm your host, Cliff Duvenois. Today, we're talking with Jimmy Greene, the sales director of the Memorial Cup 2024, coming to Saginaw. Get your tickets. One of the things that we explored a little bit with Craig was that this is more than just a Saginaw event, because this is really impacting a lot of other communities around, Midland to, the west, all the way over to Frankenmuth to the east. So talk to us about basically just like building out a team of community to support this.
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting because one of the things I did was I took a snapshot of what we look like as a Saginaw Spirit structure. And I mean, fans, team, you name it, in September of 23. My goal, obviously, which I'll get to prove out or not prove out, in September 24 was how much did we transform? And I said something to you during the break where I said I'm transformative and not transactional. So I thought with the Memorial Cup, if we're just selling tickets, and we're talking about a $15 to $20 million investment here in the region, and all we're doing is selling tickets without transformation, shame on us. I think no matter who wins the Memorial Cup, and God forbid it's anybody other than us, but I thought it would be a total failure. So when we started this transformation, every single day I kept thinking to myself, okay, you plant a flag, and I always thought June 3rd and September. Every single thing I've done had the, okay, so now they're gone home, what's left? Now they're gone home, what's left? So the opportunity was to expand our fan base, to look at where we were driving our traffic from, to enhance that, increase that, to educate a populace that, quite frankly, we hadn't obviously reached, to go beyond Saginaw, Bay and Midland, Isabella, Gratiot counties, Tuscola counties. Those are all surround Genesee County, for that matter. I mean, Flint Firebird fans are rabid hockey fans. It was the opportunity to really extend that. I will tell you, our exposure now in places like Birch Run, we've never seen the kind of commitment and fan support from Birch Run as we have since the Memorial Cup. So when you talk about what did we do to enhance this experience, to expand our base, everything. And I went everywhere. I don't think there's a Rotary group I haven't spoke to, or a Lions group, or any other group, and certainly no chambers, convention and visitor bureaus, you name it, where there were people I spoke to. And that's what I meant earlier before the break about going everywhere, getting up and really getting the message out there, not selling tickets. That was the key. I never went to any of these places to get sponsorships or to sell tickets. It was education, education, education.
Yes.
What the Saginaw Spirit meant to the community, what economic impact we were having on the community, and what economic impact we could continue to have based on fan support. So it was all about what the Memorial Cup is and was. And then that, oh, by the way, came much later, which was here's some opportunities for sponsorships, for example, or tickets. So it was an opportunity to transform. And when people kept saying, well, what's in it for us? I answered that right up front before I even asked you for a sponsorship or an investment. It's like, here's why you'd want to support us in the Memorial Cup. And it didn't have a monetary number on it. It was just support. And you let people figure that out any way they want to.
Certainly. And I know that part of this is because we talk about transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the journey of the Memorial Cup is transforming Saginaw.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's left behind.
Yeah.
Talk to us about some of those. Talk to us about some of those projects there.
Well, it's funny. We don't have the kind of downtown in Saginaw that would have won the Memorial Cup on its own accord. That transformation. So you look at what you were, and you look at what you could be based on the Memorial Cup. That was really the key. That was the goal. So we kept thinking, okay, how do we get more retail down there? How do we get more transportation? We started working with Stars. Stars was amazing. Now, remember, we're going to play hockey. If it was just about hockey, none of the things I'm talking about even matters. It was really more about community. So we worked with Stars to change their routes, their times. I mean, the transportation at in and around all of Saginaw County is free over that period of time. No matter where you catch the bus, you can come to the Dow Event Center free. That was transformative. Not to mention some of the routes now, excuse my cough, I've been talking too much, but a lot of the routes now will continue way past the Memorial Cup because they've been able to see how they can serve a community better. That happened because of the Memorial Cup. We think about the legacy centers, for example. We're starting our Saginaw Urban Hockey Association. We looked at our demographics. We look white, and that's hockey fans. I mean, it's okay to say that. You know, I don't know why people wouldn't just say what's pretty obvious. So why? Well, access and opportunity in many respects. So we started extending this education piece out to minority communities. Hey, you like hockey? We started inviting them during the regular season to come to hockey games, and that worked really well. I mean, they love hockey. So that was an opportunity. And so what? It's reciprocal. It's a vested interest. They get entertainment. We get a growing fan base. I mean, it makes perfect math. It's a perfect investment. You're, again, allowing your community to see a jewel that they didn't have access or opportunity based on economic issues to participate in. So the Saginaw Urban Hockey Association we created will teach young, and this is socioeconomic. There are poor white kids who don't have as much access as poor black kids or brown kids. So it's purely driven on socioeconomic opportunities and vulnerabilities.
Right.
We're going to take them out to Saginaw Bay Ice Arena, buy them their own skates and equipment, teach them how to skate.
Beautiful.
Even if they don't play hockey, the recreational value of it, just knowing how to ice skate. Because, hello, we're in Michigan. There's things called ice here.
I think we're born with skates on our feet.
9 months out of the year here. The potential for ice, but all kidding aside, I mean, Hoyt Park, you know, there's a personal investment, $2 million investment going into Hoyt Park that's going to make it a little league mecca for baseball. And then, of course, during the winter, they plan to bring back the ice rink as well. Imagine those poor kids who now grab their own ice skates and head down to Hoyt Park in the winter. Though, when you look at and that changes things, you know what I mean? And this is a segue to the Medical Diamond that's coming down there too. Everybody's excited about coming downtown now, and that's a Memorial Cup thing. You know, we don't have to take credit for it. We just have to do it and be there.
Absolutely true. And I love the, you know, taking the socioeconomic challenged kids, bringing them up there. And something that I had heard was even for the Memorial Cup itself, that you set aside a block of tickets for people who are in shelters.
That was my
people are really
personal
struggling.
Commitment. Yep. I was bothered. We set up a lot of free events at the Jolt Park. We have concerts every single day, different genres, needless to say. But I kept thinking to myself, something was missing. So we had these events from 4 to 7. At 7 o'clock, everybody crosses the street to watch the hockey games, right?
Right.
Except the people who can't afford to go in. And I thought, God, that's the optics of the haves and the have-nots.
Ouch. Yeah, it's so
It
true,
is.
though. It's true. It's true.
And I thought, and it bothered me. I couldn't put my finger on it. And finally it did. So I started reaching out to small companies because they couldn't make the investment with large dollars. I mean, not everybody here's a Dow. Matter of fact, there's only one Dow. But I kept thinking, what if they could do something like $600? And we created this ticket package for $600. You could sponsor 15 tickets. They could be for nonprofits or children, right? It caught on like wildfire.
Beautiful.
I put a number of $19.99 out there only because I'm the biggest Prince fan in the world. It just popped into my head. I'm not kidding you. It's like $19.99. And so we're at about 2,070 now tickets that we will disperse to our nonprofit heroes, the can councils, the Underground Railroads, the shelter houses, Boys and Girls Club. Let's face it, these are the heroes in our community.
Yes.
They captured the lease of us. And Eastside Soup Kitchen, And I know those budgets. Why? I served on those boards. They don't have money to do this. They can't afford to come to the Memorial Cup. And I kept thinking to myself, wow, what a shame. So that we will have tickets for their staff who do heroic work every day.
It makes me think that there's so many people out there that want to do good things. It's just that somebody needs to step up and say, here's how you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how you can benefit. And how many tickets now? 2,000?
2,070.
That is incredible.
It is. So we had to disperse those over, the 6 games. They're all round-robin games because we knew the semis and finals would be. But it was just the experience. I mean, can you imagine that when that free event happens, you got 2,070 people who might not have otherwise been able to go over there now with their tickets in hand, go over to the Memorial Cup game.
It makes it truly a community
It is
event.
A community thing. It's never not been that. Why? Because I'm the community. And so is Craig. So are you. So is Dick. That's who we are.
Yes.
And the idea that those folks get to see what we see, irrespective of how much somebody paid. I mean, there are some things, and I don't want this to sound, so arrogant, but there are just some things bigger than us. And, not everything we have to do has to do with P&Ls and things like that. Sometimes it's just about the feeling you get. That's the best profit there is.
Yes.
That feeling you get. And for me, it's going to be a little special because I'm the guy dispersing those tickets. So I'll know the people coming in.
You get to be like Santa Claus.
We had these poor kids from Gideon's gym. It's a boxing gym that teaches young kids how to box. But it's more about self-esteem and the whole works.
Right.
So we hosted them this past game when we had them on the ice, watching their faces. Amazing. So I went right down to Joe Mendez, who leads Gideon's gym. I said, hey, I went down, I asked the kids, I said, hey, you guys want to come back again? They're like, yeah. And one kid said to me, he goes, yeah, but next time I'm going to dress warmer.
There you go.
I went, yeah, it's hockey. So they had a ball. And so those kids will be coming back to the Memorial Cup game too. Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. Yeah. So Jimmy, let's talk a little bit about the Memorial Cup experience.
Yep.
Right? So somebody, they get their tickets, they're coming down here, events around downtown. What's happening?
Yep. Well, the first day we're bringing the trophy in on a military transport. They'll be met by a band that opening day. We have a flyover that day as well.
Cool.
We'll have the governor here. We'll have the premier from Ontario here as well. It's going to be a big gala. We'll have fireworks that day, and that's just they'll meet the 4 teams. It's a big giant dinner where all 4 teams will be introduced at that point. So that's that kickoff. The next day, we immediately start with the entertainment value. We have the Hockey Hall of Fame coming in. I just mapped that out at the Dow Event Center with their curators yesterday.
Right.
That's going to be a fun thing. We have a fan fest. So many events for kids and adults to bring their kids down. Again, all free. That's every day. We have a concert from 4 until 7 every single day. It's just so many things that are happening. We have a STEM Skill Fest. On May 29th, we have what we call School Day at the Memorial Cup. So beginning at 8 o'clock and through 1 o'clock, we'll have over 2,500 kids from around the region coming in during that day.
Nice.
Watching things called the Carnegie Initiative, which is talking about DEI,
right.
Exposing American kids to the idea that there are black people who play hockey in Canada, lots of them. And that is a display at the Hockey Hall of Fame as well, too. We'll talk about something really important that day that we want them exposed to, and these are 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, about the stress of social media. Mental health value. So a magician coming in who will demonstrate handling that kind of stress that social media creates for these young kids. And we have to address that. So it's a mental health day as well, too. And then we follow that up again. We have Walker Hayes coming in on June 1st.
Cool.
Big headliner right there. Yeah, he's very popular. Ticket sales are going like crazy for that event. We knew they would because, country western and hockey, it seems hand in glove kind of thing.
Yep.
And then, again, every day is almost a repeat. So we have 10 days of just nonstop activity from morning, noon, and night. We have a girls' skills over the weekend, teaching girls. We have ball hockey. That's a fun thing to watch for those kids who can't skate. They get to put the shoes on and play hockey with their shoes on. So we have a full day of that on the weekends. On Memorial Day, we plan tributes, obviously, for veterans because Memorial Cup they are honoring their veterans who have fallen in war for their country. We're going to tie that in because it is Memorial Cup and Memorial Cup Day. With our own fallen veterans as well.
Beautiful.
We have a faith day That first Sunday, we have all denominations. They just met yesterday. We'll probably have 6,000 to 7,000 parishioners of all faiths
Wow.
at the Jolt Park, free. And that's a double service because they're going to be, I'm sure they have service in the morning. I don't know if my bishop will be thrilled with somebody saying, I'm not coming in the morning, but I'll be there in the afternoon. But whatever, they will have that opportunity. So I could go on and on and on, but that's a repeat over 10 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, so if somebody's listening to this and they're like, you know what, I want to come. I want to check out the Memorial Cup. I want to look at the events. How can they do that?
Well, first of all, I would suggest we have shuttles. State Street, Bay Road, Tittabawassee. If you're coming from out of the county, Bay, Saginaw, Bay, Midland, or even a township, I'd park at one of the hotels and take a shuttle down because I think parking might be compromised. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
But they can come down free of charge. They could drive down, take a shuttle down. Come on down, period.
Right. And where can they go to get tickets for the events?
They can come into the Saginaw Spirit store, 6321 State Street. They can go online, saginawspirit.com. They can reach out to me. Mine is simple, too. J. Greene, Greene, at saginawspirit.com. Or they can call me, 989-213-4367. I will say this, though. Tickets aren't that readily available. We had an allotment set up for, I think, about 50 or 60%, because remember, we share this with two other
Correct,
leagues.
yeah.
We're over 80% just here. So by the time these other two champions start coming in, we're going to be maxed out. So I anticipate every game will be a sellout. So they want to get their tickets now, and that's not a hype sale. That's just the reality
That's
of
the way that it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
Yep.
It is. It's an international event.
Yes.
This is the most widely watched hockey event in Canada. So they will follow their teams here.
They will.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jimmy, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to chat with us
This has been
today.
the best part of my week. My month. No, I'm serious, Cliff. I love doing this because you get a chance to just talk.
Yes.
It didn't even feel like an interview. It was just an opportunity to kind of go back and, I'm a person of great faith. And so when you have this opportunity to sit down and tie all that into a kind of I use a comma in my life. No periods yet.
Yep.
And this is just another healthy comma in my life. And I appreciate the opportunity to sit with you and talk. So the timing could not have been better.
Perfect. Awesome. For our audience, you can always roll on over to totalmichigan.com and click on Jimmy's interview and get the links that you mentioned above, address, phone number as well. We'll see you next time when we talk to another Michigander doing some pretty extraordinary things. We'll see you then.